Okay, let's look at adding a blog to our website. So we've got blog here, but how do we get it in? By pressing plus on either of these, then gives you the collection to add that. Then what we're seeing here is the blog landing page. But then if I click into one of them, you can then see the individual post itself. So clicking on blog content, then we see the default that has been supplied to us. And then I can click edit up the top here and then start editing the initial content. Or I could have just added a blank post itself. So clicking into the blog title allows us to adjust this. And then what we're seeing is a slightly different way of adding the blocks into this. So we're using Classic Editor in this setup, mostly because it's set up for the RSS feeds that a blog post can go and do. But then what we can do is we can insert the different block types into here. So let's say we wanted to insert a image. We can then do this here and bring it down the bottom. Then I might add some more text. And for this example, let's just copy and paste something like. But then let's say I wanted to get a bit more creative. So I wanted to make something 2 columns. So what I can do is I can then add a block and then let's go with a button. So I've got my button here, but I want to make the button left aligned. So I can do one of 2 things. I could either change it like and make it left aligned, or I could then, let's say I wanted to have it, well, let's go for an image instead. So I want to have the image coming to the center. So let's just add some more text below here. Now what I can do is I can pick it up and then you can see that I've got this blue line that's going to follow me around. So just by dragging the block to the side here, I can then have this big blue line going top to bottom. And that, if I let go, is then going to make the image on column 2, and it's going to take up the whole size. But in this example, I just want to have it snapping next door. So if I just drag my cursor ever so slightly, there we go. So it takes a little bit of letting go there, then has my image sat next to my text. But let's say that we wanted to have a natural gap in between. Now, we don't have access to the grid, but what we do have access to is a spacer. So I can use the spacer here. I can then pick it up and then I can drag it in the middle. Now you can see that's quite large. I might want it a bit smaller. So I can then just drag this here. That's the smallest size that it will go. But let's say I wanted my image to then be bigger. I can then just drag this back this way, drag this over to the other side, and then the image itself goes and gets bigger. So we've got that available to us. I could keep going down, having some more columns and blocks, in that column. But let's say that I just wanted to have those 2, and then I wanted to get back to going full width. So you can then pick up your block. You can actually see right at the bottom of my screen, I have this blue line. Letting go there allows it to then keep going full width. And so then you've got that available to you. You've got the spacers. You've got the different block types. Now you see that I can then insert things in between here. That's because there's been an enter added between the text. So if I just close this up, you'll see that it's gone away. So I only then have like 1 here. But if I then just go and put an enter, then you can see I can come and insert things in between that. So let's say you had a whole big chunk of text, just adding the enters in could go and give you that. So that's how to do blocks and just making your page look slightly different. Then editing the section. So you've got a whole heap of different controls. The content width is again how wide this is. So I could either have this super wide, and be able to have this. So in this example, I'll just keep it as medium. The text centered is this text up the top here. So I could have that left aligned. The meta, so that is basically the metadata, which is related to these. That's the category, the date of the blog post, who did the author, and then all of these side of things. So I can then add this in, and we've got that. And then the color. So you could have the color across the background of the whole post and change it accordingly. So you've got that all available to you. Okay, so then let's come and edit some of the settings itself. So let's come in and hover our mouse over here. So editing the settings means I can change the thumbnail, which is being shown on the landing page. This excerpt is a piece of text that gets shown on the landing page. In this example, it's not turned on, but I'm going to press edit, click and edit my section, and then I might turn the excerpt on. Here we go. And then this is just an initial piece of text that you might show the user, gives them a little taster for it. That's where that text comes in. And then you can edit the blog URL. So normally you would then have the page title and then put that here. Just noting that if you do go and duplicate any other blog posts, then I'll just show you what happens with this. So let's duplicate that. Got ourselves a copy. But what it will do is it will stick a whole heap of gobbledygook on the end. The reason being is it needs to make them all unique. But what you want to go and do is then copy this and make sure that you can then edit it over the top so that you don't have this gobbledygook here. Then under options, you have the ability to do any one of these. In terms of publishing it, then you have this ability to do this and then either drag the slider, change the date. You could even click into here, changing the date itself, schedule it in the future as well. Then under SEO, you've got a whole heap of different controls available to you. The one thing that I would also say is that you would come in at the top here. You can get to the settings of the blog either by that, same again here, or on the cog like so. Is then just making sure that under SEO, you just delete off this blog title. That's just a placeholder. But let's say you've called it blog or news or something totally different. That's the piece that gets shown on Google. So you just want to make sure that you delete that off. And then let's say you wanted to have a social image on the post itself. So you've got that to go and do. And then you've got a whole heap of other controls available as well. So sending it off to one of these, should you be doing podcasting, you can add the audio block in. The blog's functionality has got so much available to go and use. And then going and putting the codes in here. If you were to add any categories, so then you can not only just manage them here. So let's just go and do that. So let's give this a category. We'll put it in one category, but then we might choose to put this next one in another category. So just by typing something in, it already surfaces something that is in here. Or if I wanted to make a brand new one, type it in, press enter. But let's say that I've decided I don't want it to be called training anymore. I want it to be called something totally different. So then let's say I click settings, come into advanced and managing my categories. I can then click into this and then I can edit. So I can then do this. So then that gets changed everywhere that I have the category itself. So then let's come back to this one. And then here we go. We can see that it's come and changed. I could put this in multiple categories as well. Same with tags. I could put this in multiple. And all I need to do is just press enter. And then I can do all sorts of things. Obviously, this is just a quick demo example. Getting rid, just you can click line and be able to do that. So adding tags into there, the same approach for managing the tags, again, can be done under that settings. So you've got a whole heap of different controls going on and be able to use the blogs with loads of functionality.